Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. My name was Dale Carter. I was 38, and I built guitars for a living. Not factory pieces, not mass-produced models, but instruments shaped by hand, slowly, carefully. I left a corporate sales office 8 years earlier to work with wood, wire, and sound. The choice had cost me comfort, but it gave me peace. My hands stayed busy. My mind stayed clear. My wife, Grace Carter, was different. She worked in marketing, moved fast, spoke faster, lived for results and recognition. Her clothes looked expensive. Her phone never stopped buzzing. People at her office feared her drive and admired her confidence. At home, that same confidence turned sharp. Remarks about money, status, and real careers came often. I never matched her income, and she never forgot that. Still, we stayed married for 7 years. Good days existed. Quiet nights existed. But something warm had faded without either of us saying so. Our 7th anniversary approached. I planned nothing flashy. For 3 months, I stayed in my workshop after midnight. I shaped a compact guitar meant for a living room, not a stage. Walnut sides, maple neck, warm tone. I carved a thin line into the head, shaped like the sign from the first bar where we met. No names, no dates, only a memory hidden in wood, no invoice, no receipt, only hours. On the evening itself, I cooked at home. The case waited beside my chair. When Grace walked in, she glanced at the setup and smiled, quick and polite. "You did all this?" she asked. "Yes," I said. She sat down. I served the plates. We ate. The room stayed quiet. When the last fork touched the dish, I reached for the case and placed it between us. "Happy anniversary, Grace," I said. Her expression froze. She looked at the case. Then she looked at me. "What is that?" she asked. "You'll see," I replied. I opened it. The lid lifted. I watched her eyes, waiting for some shift. She blinked once. No smile came. "Is this supposed to be the gift?" Grace asked. "It's a guitar," I said. "Made just for you." "For me?" she repeated, her tone flat. "Dale, I sent you a link. That bracelet from Verona Jewelers. You said you'd look at it." "I did," I replied. I also knew I wanted to make something personal, something tied to us. She lifted the instrument carefully, not with care but with inspection, like a stranger examining a flawed product. Her fingers brushed the neck without warmth. "You spent months on this?" she asked. "Yes." She let out a short breath. "I don't want handmade junk, Dale." The phrase landed heavy in the quiet room. "I work with my hands," I answered. "This isn't junk. It's skill. It's time." She closed the case, her chair pushed back on the floor. "I'm not putting this in my living room," she said. "Do you know what people would say? This looks like a hobby project." She carried it past the doorway and into the kitchen. I stood still, listening. The lid hit the side of the bin. A dull thud followed. Grace returned and brushed her palms together. "Problem solved," she said, picking up her phone. Silence filled the space between us. No shouting, no pleading. She sat on the couch, scrolling, already elsewhere. "You could have tried harder," she added without looking at me. "Anniversaries matter." "So does respect," I said. She didn't answer. Minutes passed. I walked into the kitchen. The case rested inside the bin, tilted against empty cartons. I lifted it out slowly. Grace watched from the doorway. "You're not seriously keeping that," she said. I said nothing. I carried the case toward the hallway. "Do whatever you want," she muttered. "It's not staying here." Night settled across the house. Grace slept behind a closed door. I stayed in the hallway with the case resting beside my feet. Strings still held tension. Sound still lived inside the wood. I walked out the front door and placed the case in my truck. No conversation followed me. No apology. I drove through quiet streets toward my workshop, but changed direction halfway. Instead, I headed for Torres Sound and Gallery, a small space owned by Elena Torres. She had sold a few of my basic builds in the past. Midnight lights were off, but I knew she slept above the shop. I knocked once, then again. Footsteps moved on the other side of the glass. A lock turned. Elena opened the door wearing a sweater, eyes alert. "Dale, everything okay?" she asked. "I need a minute," I said, "and an honest opinion." She stepped aside. I laid the case on her main counter. The lid rose. She said nothing at first. Fingers hovered, then followed the smooth edges. Her gaze traced the inlay. She lightly strummed a chord. The sound filled the quiet shop. "When did you learn to do this?" she asked. "I always could," I replied. "No one ever asked for it." She tilted her head. "This is not basic. This is rare-level work. Why haven't I seen this from you before?" "It was meant as an anniversary gift," I said. "It didn't land well." Elena did not ask for details. She simply nodded. "Dale, instruments at this level go for serious numbers. With the right circle, this could reach 20,000, maybe more." I remained still. "That isn't exaggeration," she added. "The tone, the detail, the balance. Collectors look for pieces like this." "It's yours to display," I said. "On consignment." A small smile appeared. "I was hoping you'd say that." She moved the guitar beneath full light. She wrote a card, placed my name beneath it, then looked back at me. "You know this will change things for you, right?" she said. "Yes," I answered. "It already has." 3 days later, Elena placed the guitar behind clear glass near the front entrance. A card sat beneath the strings. "Dale Carter, custom instrument, $21,000. People slowed while walking past. Some stepped inside. Others took photos. Grace's office sat 2 blocks away. During lunch, she walked with coworkers along the same street. Her eyes locked on the window. She stepped away from the group, pushed open the door, and approached the case. Fingers trembled as she touched the glass. "That can't be his," she whispered. Elena approached calmly. "Beautiful piece, isn't it?" "Who made it?" Grace asked. "Dale Carter," Elena replied. "One of our most skilled builders." Grace walked out without another word. That evening, the front door slammed before I even turned around. "Why is my anniversary gift in a gallery?" she demanded, pushing her phone toward me. A photo of the guitar filled the screen. "After you called it junk and dropped it in a bin, it stopped being yours," I said. Her anger twisted fast into calculation. 20,000, she said. "You told me you could barely afford groceries last week." "I said business was slow," I replied. "Not that I lacked skill." She paced. "We could use that money. A trip. A better place. That bracelet I wanted. We deserve this." "No," I said. "You made your choice. I made mine." Her eyes narrowed. "You can't cut me out of this. We're married." "And you couldn't show respect for something made for you," I answered. "Both statements are true." She moved closer, lowering her voice. "I made a mistake." "You dismissed 3 months of work without a thought," I replied. "That wasn't a slip. That was honesty." Silence filled the room again, different this time. Heavy. Final. "So you're punishing me," she said. "I'm protecting myself," I answered. She grabbed her coat from the chair. "You're throwing away a life over a guitar." "No," I said. "I'm refusing to keep one with someone who sees value only after a price tag appears." Her hand paused on the doorknob. "You'll regret this," she said. She left. The door closed. Elena called 2 days later. Her tone stayed professional, but I heard the edge of excitement. "He's serious," she said. "Michael Liu, private collector. He's offering just under the listed number. Cash and paperwork ready." "Accept it," I told her. The deal closed quietly. I signed my name once. Elena handled the rest. After her percentage came out, the balance landed in my account before the end of the week. I paid off the small business loan that had followed me for years. The remaining amount went straight into new equipment for the workshop. No celebration, no announcement, just progress. When Grace came back, she didn't knock. "I spoke to my friend's lawyer," she said. "He says you can't isolate income from a marriage like that." She spoke quick, like a pitch. "It was personal property after it went into the trash," I replied. "Just like your clothes or your phone." She stepped closer. "We should sit down and reset. We rushed that night. You know I didn't mean half of what I said." "You meant enough," I answered. "Because of one argument?" she pressed. "After 7 years?" "It wasn't one argument," I said. "It was clarity." "What about everything else?" she asked. "You replaced meaning with branding," I replied. "That has been happening for a long time. The guitar only made it visible." She crossed her arms. "So what? You're going to end a marriage over wood and strings?" "I'm ending it over respect," I said. Silence stretched between us. Her confidence faltered. "So what now?" she asked. "Now we separate." Her shoulders stiffened. "You don't get to just decide that." "I already have." Within 2 weeks, an attorney filed the papers. The asset list was short. No children, no shared accounts other than basic bills. The process moved faster than either of us expected. No yelling in court, just signatures, stamped pages, quiet finality. At the last meeting, Grace avoided my eyes. "You'll see," she muttered. "You'll realize what you gave up." I signed the final line, handed the pen back. "I finally saw what I was holding on to," I said. I walked out alone. A week after the final signature dried, Elena called again. "Michael Liu wants more," she said. "Not resale. Commission. A custom build. Your design. His budget." We met 2 days later in the gallery's back room. Michael sat across from me, hands folded, eyes sharp but calm. "You don't talk much," he said. "I like that. It means your work speaks." "What do you want built?" I asked. "A piece no one else has," he replied. "I'll handle the money. You handle the vision." We agreed on a design, a timeline, and a price that changed my trajectory. Half reached my account within hours. I upgraded my space. New tools arrived. The cramped back room behind my old place disappeared into the past. I signed a lease on a compact but clean studio downtown. A sign with my full name went on the door. Around the same time, a niche music magazine contacted me for a feature on independent builders. It mentioned the instrument once thrown away on an anniversary night, now in the hands of a serious collector. Orders followed, messages stacked, calendars filled. Grace did not rise with the tide. Mutual contacts spoke carefully, but patterns were clear. Her numbers at work dropped, pressure built. The market shifted against her field. Promotions passed her by. The same confidence she once carried turned sharp and restless. She blamed luck, timing, even me. Words about betrayal and missed chances drifted back through others. At a final legal follow-up, she tried again. "You think success erases what you did to me?" she asked. "I think success came after I removed what pulled me down," I answered. She scoffed. "You were nothing before me." "And I became something once you left," I replied. No insults followed, no accusations, only silence and stamped paper. That evening I stood inside the new studio alone. I picked up a guitar in progress and tuned each string slowly. The sound was steady, honest. No brand names, no labels, only work. Outside, traffic moved. Inside, order held. Grace faded into distance. My hands stayed busy. My path stayed clear. One of my finished guitars ended up in a recording space across town, a small studio. That was where I met Rose Bennett. She worked the board, moved cables, checked levels. Calm voice, focused eyes. "You built this?" she asked, nodding toward the stand. "Yes." "It responds differently," she said. "Not stiff, not lazy, balanced." "Wood decides that," I replied. "I just guide it." She smiled slightly. "I'd like to see how." A week later, she stepped into my studio. No compliments, no noise. She watched. Sawdust settled on her sleeve. She didn't brush it away. We spoke only when needed. She wasn't impressed by price, fame, or articles. She cared about tone, grain, strength. I made her something simple from leftover maple, a small slide. No polish, no mark. "For testing," I said, placing it in her hand. She looked at it. Her lips trembled once. "No one ever made something just for me," she said. That was enough. 2 days later, Grace showed up. Her car stopped in front of the door. She walked inside, eyes scanning the space. "Nice," she said. "You really turned this into something." "It turned itself once I stepped out of the way," I replied. She touched a half-finished guitar. "This could have been ours," she said. "Power couple, talent and image." "It never would have worked," I answered. "You needed audience. I needed honesty." Her gaze moved to Rose standing by the bench. "Who is this?" Grace asked. "A woman who respects work," I said. Rose stepped forward slightly. No tension, no performance. "You told me my work was junk," I continued. "That moment didn't leave. It clarified." "I was angry," Grace said. "You know I didn't mean it." "You meant every word at the time," I replied. "That's all that mattered." She exhaled sharply, anger fading into something thinner. "So this is it," she said. "I'm replaced by a workshop and a stranger." "You left first," I answered. "I just locked the door after." Grace turned toward the exit, paused. "You'll remember me when the noise fades," she said. "No," I replied. "I'll remember the sound of the trash can." Her heels moved away. Rose stayed silent until the door shut. "You okay?" she asked. "I've never been more clear," I said. She nodded once, understanding that didn't need more words. Months passed without her shadow crossing my door. Work filled every morning. Orders lined up through next season. Letters from collectors arrived instead of bills. The silence that once felt empty now felt earned. Grace reached out one last time by email. Her message was long. She wrote about change, about regret, about studying herself. She said losing the marriage forced her to see what ambition had done to her. She admitted calling my gift trash had been cruel. She wrote that she understood the value of what I made now, not because of money, but because she finally slowed down enough to see the patience in it. She asked for coffee, only conversation, no pressure. I read the message twice. Then I stared at my hands. Those same hands had shaped a guitar in secret for our anniversary. Those same hands had lifted it out of trash after she said, "I don't want handmade junk." Those same hands had signed divorce papers while she searched for blame. I deleted the email. Not out of anger, not for revenge, simply because some doors close once they reveal what sits on the other side. Later that evening, I stood inside the studio as sun slipped through tall glass. A finished guitar rested in its stand. Another lay on the bench. I ran my fingers along the neck, proof that care outlives noise, effort outlasts opinion, meaning exists long before a price is written. Rose stepped in behind me. No rush, no demand. "Does it ever get easier?" she asked. "It gets clearer," I said. She nodded and stayed beside me without another word. Grace's world had shrunk to what she once chased: image, speed, recognition without roots. Mine had grown from something she tried to throw away. She wanted value after a number defined it. I had learned to see it long before that. And that was the real power shift. Not the sale, not the studio, but the moment I realized the truth. The wrong person needs a label to see worth. The right one never does. Thank you for watching.